what might be the greatest deal in gaming history. And now, they're slowly undoing it. Not because it failed, but because it worked too well. Yeah, imagine creating something so good that it becomes a problem. That's exactly what's happening with Xbox Game Pass. This wasn't just another product. It was supposed to change how everything works. So how do you go from "this is insane value" to "wait, why does this feel worse now"? Let's break down the 10 reasons Microsoft's billion-dollar idea is starting to crack, and why this might affect way more than just gaming. Let's start with the original idea. Because on paper, this was genius. Microsoft looked at Netflix and thought, movies went from ownership to access. What if games did the same thing? Instead of buying one game for $70, you pay a monthly fee and get access to a library. Not just small games, big games, AAA games, day one releases. This wasn't just convenience. This was a paradigm shift. It changed how players thought about value. It changed how developers thought about distribution. And for a moment, it looked like Microsoft had just outplayed the entire gaming industry. Game Pass wasn't just good. It was suspiciously good. For the price of one full game, you could play dozens. Imagine paying for one Netflix movie and getting the entire platform. That's what this felt like. And users loved it. But here's the uncomfortable truth. If you're getting that much value, someone else is losing money. And in this case, that someone was Microsoft. Because every time you downloaded a game, Microsoft had to pay developers. Every time you didn't buy a game, Microsoft lost a potential sale. So while users were winning, the business model was quietly bleeding. This is where things get really interesting. Because Game Pass isn't unique. It's part of a larger system, the subscription economy. Here how it works. Hook users with low prices. Scale as fast as possible. Delay profitability. Then slowly increase prices over time. It's the same strategy used by Spotify, Netflix, even software tools like Adobe. At first, you feel like you're winning. But over time, the company starts reclaiming value. Bit by bit, price by price. Until one day, you realize you're paying more for something that feels like less. In tech, growth is everything. Not profit, not stability. Growth. And Game Pass was growing fast. Millions of users joined. Momentum was strong. But then, growth slowed down. And that's where the panic begins. Because investors don't reward stable. They reward more. So now Microsoft has a problem. Costs are high. Growth is slowing. And expectations are still rising. That's a dangerous combination. You raise prices. It's almost unavoidable. At some point, every subscription gets more expensive. And Game Pass was no different. Prices went up. Tiers got reshuffled. Value started to shift. And suddenly, the best deal in gaming didn't feel as unbeatable anymore. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't crazy good anymore either. And that difference is everything. Gamers are passionate. And they're loud. The moment prices changed, the backlash began. Videos popped up everywhere. Posts went viral. People started asking, is Game Pass still worth it? And once that question enters the conversation, the damage is already done. Because perception is reality. Most companies don't admit mistakes. They double down. They justify. They spin the narrative. Microsoft. They adjusted. They listened. They made changes. But here's the catch. You can't just reverse pricing without adjusting value, because the system still has to work. When prices shift, something else has to give. And in this case, it was value. Fewer guarantees. More limitations. Less of that wow factor. It's like upgrading your lifestyle, then slowly realizing you can't afford it anymore. So you cut back. Quietly. Gradually. Until things feel different. Because here's the reality. Game Pass didn't collapse. It didn't fail overnight. It evolved into something more sustainable, but also less exciting. And that's the paradox. The better the deal, the harder it is to maintain. So maybe the issue is Microsoft. Maybe the issue is the model itself. If you made it this far, you already think differently than most people watching. So hit subscribe, because we break down the business behind the tech you use every day. And trust me, some of your favorite apps are running the exact same playbook.